10 things from 1970s Britain that were totally normal but hilarious now. 1. The ice cream van lie. It's a Saturday afternoon in 1974. You're about 8 years old, and suddenly you hear it, the distant tune of the ice cream van drifting down the street. The music gets louder and louder, and you sprint inside to ask your mom for some money. But before you can even speak, she stops you. That music means he's run out, and somehow you believed her. For years, half the kids in Britain grew up convinced that the ice cream van only played its cheerful jingle when there was absolutely nothing left to sell. 2. The legendary Raleigh Chopper. In the 1970s, every kid wanted a Raleigh Chopper. Over 1.5 million of them were sold during the decade, and owning one felt like having the coolest machine on the street. It had those uneven wheels, massive high-rise handlebars, and a long padded seat that made you feel like you were riding a motorbike, even though you were moving at about 4 miles an hour down a quiet cul-de-sac. But there was one design feature nobody really talked about: the gear stick. Mounted right on the crossbar, directly between your legs. One sharp bump or sudden stop, and every boy in Britain discovered a kind of pain that didn't need explaining. You'd still ride it again. 3. The mystery of white dog poo. It was everywhere, on pavements, in parks, on football pitches, chalky white piles sitting out in the open like they had always been part of the landscape. No one questioned it. It was just normal. The reason was actually pretty simple. Dog food back then contained huge amounts of powdered bone and calcium. Dogs couldn't digest all of it, so when it dried in the sun, it turned completely white. And since there were no laws about cleaning it up, it just stayed there. An entire generation grew up stepping around white dog poo without ever wondering why. 4. The school photo jumper. Every year, usually in autumn, this same strange ritual happened at school: photo day. And on that day, your mom would produce a jumper you had never seen before in your life. It appeared from a drawer that seemed to open only once a year, usually hand-knitted by a relative, usually in a color that didn't seem to exist anywhere else in nature. A sort of aggressive mustard yellow, or a brown that was clearly trying to be orange and failing badly. You'd sit on a small wooden chair in front of a pale blue background, staring awkwardly at the camera while wearing this mysterious jumper. 5. Recording songs off the radio. Sunday afternoons meant one thing for music fans in the 1970s: the chart show on Radio 1. You'd sit there with a cassette player, finger hovering nervously over the record and play buttons, waiting for your favorite song. The plan was simple: record the song perfectly. But reality had other ideas. The DJ would talk right over the intro, your brother would slam a door halfway through, you'd press record a second too late, or the tape would run out just before the final chorus. Then you'd carefully write the track list on the cassette sleeve in your neatest handwriting, including songs you didn't even like because editing them out felt like too much effort. 6. The dangerous space hopper. If you had a space hopper in the early 1970s, you probably remember that huge orange rubber ball with a smiling face and 2 rubber ears. You held onto the ears and bounced down the street like you were riding some kind of futuristic vehicle. At least, that's what it felt like. In reality, those things tipped over constantly. Kids face-planted onto pavements, garden paths, and concrete on a regular basis. The rubber ears dug painfully into your palms while you bounced along, and if you hit a small stone at speed, game over. You were on the ground. Everyone fell off. Nobody ever admitted how often. 7. Instant mashed potatoes. In the 1970s, one product seemed to exist in almost every British kitchen: Smash instant mashed potatoes. The famous TV adverts showed robot Martians laughing at humans for the ridiculous effort of peeling potatoes, boiling them for 20 minutes, and mashing them by hand. Why bother? Just add boiling water to a packet of beige powder, and suddenly you had mashed potato. Except it wasn't really mashed potato. It was more like warm paste, a bit gray, a bit gluey, but somehow an entire generation grew up thinking that was exactly what mashed potato was supposed to taste like. 8. The Queen's Silver Jubilee Street Parties. On June 7, 1977, Britain celebrated the Queen's Silver Jubilee, 25 years on the throne, and the entire country threw a party. Tables appeared in the middle of residential streets, bunting stretched between lampposts. Everything was red, white, and blue. Some decorations were official. Others were clearly made from plastic bags and felt-tip pens. There were cups of lukewarm orange squash and ham sandwiches slowly curling in the summer heat. And every household received a commemorative mug that was never actually used. Instead, it went straight to the back of the cupboard, where it probably still is. 9. Vinyl car seats in summer. Cars in the 1970s often had black vinyl seats, and on a hot summer day, those seats turned into something truly terrifying. You'd climb into the back of the car wearing shorts and sit down. Immediately, your legs would stick to the seat like glue. By the time you arrived at your destination, peeling your skin off that vinyl felt like removing a giant piece of tape very slowly. The sound it made was unforgettable. And somehow, nobody ever suggested using a different material.